Welcome to the third episode of my show, Open Conversations. I am Bella, your host. Uh, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the overarching theme is going to be based on street politics and just dive into different subtopics within street politics um, on just how I see it, of course, and just dive in different things. So to get right into it, what is street politics? Um, to me, you know, growing up in an urban neighborhood, you experience different things, and you develop a understanding of how to move, and you know who to be around and things like that. And you develop a mindset and how you see things. And it's mostly predicated a lot of times on um a lot of times different, you know, cities. There may be rivalries in different cities, different street blocks. It's usually politics on, streets, neighborhoods, you know, uh, um, different crews, etc. Um, these are the type of things I'd consider, you know, things that could be defined as street politics and the division between one side and another side. Um, and to me, it divides and conquers, and it can be debilitating towards the community. Um, when that's kind of the situation, it's like, you know, is division strictly based off of, I'm from this street, or and you're from this street. You from this side of the city, I'm from this side of the city. You from this city, I'm from this city. These are kind of things, and it's not, to me. It's unprogressive. It's not unionizing, because in differences, I believe that it could be pros and differences. Uh, there's pros and cons to differences, but there are pros to differences. And so if one could use those differences that could help each other, then that could be beneficial to both sides. But a lot of times, people want to just see the differences. Um, and that, to me, a lot of times it's, you know, it's not good for the bigger picture. Um, you got, uh, of course, gangs. Of course, is another thing that's a part of the, a lot of times in the community. And unfortunately, it does bring about violence. I think, to me, um, gangs in general, a lot of times, uh, from what I've seen and experienced, a lot of times is usually based on people kind of looking for an outing outside of like home and stuff, and they looking for a group people who they can find some camaraderie with, which makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting that at your home place, you trying to go seek it somewhere else. And and you could find that in a gang. But a lot of times the problem with that is that it results in, you know in violence. And you know if it were, you know a, a outing to where a gang could be more of like a brotherhood without the acts of violence, then that could be beneficial. But a lot of times it does, and a lot of it again it stems from maybe pain or anger that stems from whatever the home, the upbringing home or whatever, or wherever they grew up at. Um, it stems from there, and they need a place to release that, or somebody, or you know what I'm saying. And so that's what, to me, I think a lot of the gang violence stems from, just looking for that release. But to me, if because I'm big on energy, and so a lot of the energy that gets released could be geared towards something creative or just something productive. But a lot of times we don't resort to um releasing our energy in a more productive way. It gets released in a destructive way. And again, a lot of that can stem from maybe the energy that they've been projected on, or been put on from wherever they grew up at. You know what I'm saying? From whoever figure that's raising them, a lot of that can come from that. And so, like I said, they need a release of that energy that's been projected onto them. And so I just think uh you know gangs can be useful. It's essentially, a gang is just a group of people coming together. An organization can be in some sense considered a gang because it's a group of people coming together. But the main thing is f- for in my opinion, a productive purpose, a reasoning. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the gangs in the urban neighborhoods is not much the camaraderie and coming together. Yeah, it is. It's like a brotherhood. Is like, and sometimes cats in the gang don't really even have each other's back, to be honest, and have each other's best interest. But you get that feeling like, oh, I got somebody who got my back, or who's with me, or whatever the case may be. But um, it ain't. I mean, the camaraderie, like I said, it ain't based on helping the community or helping each other out or anything like that. It's just kind of built off warfare, and that can be destructive, very, 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 very destructive. You know. Uh, so yeah. Next topic. Next topic. Snitching, 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 snitching. You know, nowadays for me, I think it's kind of I have some struggle with figuring out what exactly is snitching. Like, to me, I feel like, not even I feel, I think that when it comes to snitching, um, it's if I think that it's commonplace a lot of times, like growing up in you know the black African American communities. It's like when it comes to snitching, it's anything you say, if you say anything to the police, to some people that's considered snitch. I've seen that being used a lot in terms of what it's like, anything that's said to the police is snitching. Um and really, anything. You just say nothing to the police. But Um, some people say, be lying to the police, and that kind of ends up making things worse. But it's generally smart. You just say nothing. But for me, what I think is snitching is um if and you and a group of your friends, your buddies, whatever, y'all commit a crime together, and um y'all get caught by the you know what I'm saying, y'all get caught by the police or whatever, and y'all come to they ask y'all questions and trying to figure out what happened, and somebody chooses to give information, true information about what happened in order to relieve themselves of of some level of accountability or responsibility or punishment, uh uh and pretty much giving information that can uh criminalize the person or the people that they did the crime with. You know what I'm saying? Like you're giving information that could mess them up, even though it's true information, but you're giving information to the police, and this is information that could mess up the people you committed the crime with in order for you to get less time and be less accountable for the situation. To me, that's snitching. That's what I see. Um, if I feel like I think that if it's a situation where um there's a robbery and somebody who had nothing to do with the situation uh witnesses the crime happened or the robbery happened, and they had nothing to do with it. They witnessed it, and the police were to ask them in term for information as to what happened, what took place, and is of that nature, and they give information, true information as to what happened. To me, that's not snitching because that person had nothing to do with the crime. They were not um, part of of the crime. They're just a regular civilian, just who happened to be in the environment. So to me, that's not snitching. To me, it's only snitching when you essentially give information that's going to further incriminate the people that you did the crime with. It's like if that's you shouldn't have even done the crime in the first place if that's what you're gonna do. Shouldn't have even done it in the first place. If you're gonna go to if you got held potentially accountable and that's what you shouldn't have even done it in the first place. So it's my thing is guys gotta think, man. Gotta think. Gotta think. Gotta think. Um yeah, next topic. Next topic. Senseless killings slash murders happening a lot. Um it happens everywhere in the world. Um but and it's not something that should be ever be acceptable um anywhere. Uh Specifically um in the Afro Black community, it's happening a lot recently, especially with our artists, the musicians, the rappers. Um senseless. You know, it doesn't, when you actually think about it and you actually put thought, it's like wasn't even worth it. You know, whether from, with the PNB Rock situation, where he was, his life was taken for a chain, and Takeoff, his life just taken off a friendly fire, to just Dolph, just life taken away, and list goes on and on. XX, I mean, and it's not over much, if nothing. Um, it's to me, um, it comes down to mental health, because, and the main reason why, it you can obviously see that it's not, the acts of what they did wasn't worth it, because all of these guys are in jail or in prison or being tried over, meaning, not of much, if again, and what was taken was people's lives, which is a much, which is a lot. You know what I mean? These these people have, people who are fans of them and love them, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's much, but what, over nothing, if less than that. You know what I'm saying? Or just not much. And it just need it's a mental, it's definitely, to me, like I said, it's a mental health check, because if these individuals would have really were thinking well, they wouldn't have done that, because look at where they at. Look where they at. They in a cell, having to think about what they've done or did in the past, and a life lost. You know what I'm saying? All for a temporary feeling or a temporary gain. Not much. You get a chain, couple $1,000 you gonna spend, and now you're in a prison cell. You can't even wear that chain. You can't spend that money. You don't got time back with, your family and all that stuff, and your friends in the world, doing what you do in the free world. You don't got that time no more. And so it just definitely comes to, in my opinion, just a much, much, much more emphasis on mental health. Being, thinking about, not just feeling, because feelings, you can feel one way today, and feel another tomorrow, and the third day you might feel another way, and then fourth you might be feelings. They go, they feel this, feel that. But when you think, that's stationary. That's, you know, clear, it's logical. You know what I'm saying? You can make decisions that are more implicating of knowing what's best for not just now but the future. When you actually think about um the decisions you're gonna make. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just going off of a bad feeling and just committing an act that is just comes off completely senseless, and is gonna be uh something you might have to potentially pay for the rest of your life. You know, so I just advise people just really think before you act on a bad emotion or a bad feeling. Think, think. You can process your feelings and your emotions better when you actually think. When you're just going off of your emotions, your feelings, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling really you can just you can think terrible. You're usually not thinking well, you know, not thinking well. What you're projecting isn't going to be well. So you gotta. I advise people to think, man. Use what's in here. Use what's in between your ears. You know, process your emotions well. You know what I'm saying? Mental health and emotional intelligence. That's what I feel like, and I think that is what needs to be promoted, not just in you know the urban Black African American community, but all over the world. Mental health, emotional intelligence, because with that we won't have as much of you know petty crime, ignorant crimes, malicious crimes, and all of these kind of things. You wouldn't have as much as that if that was teached and promoted more. Next subject. Yeah. So narcotic slash drug dealers in the community. To me, I feel like um again, I'm gonna keep it 100. There's always been, especially in America, it makes it, American culture, in my opinion. It's always been an allure when it comes to drug dealers, the Scarfaces and uh, um, the mafia, John Guy, all these kind of guys. It's always been a allure, and mainly the allure usually comes from the lifestyle. These the style, um, the money, the cars, the lifestyle that things being a narcotic dealer attracts. Um uh to me, I think um it's business. They're just as much as business business owners or businessmen, entrepreneurs as uh a Fortune 500. But the difference is one's legal, one's illegal. What narcotic drug dealers are selling and marketing is illegal. But the principles behind being a businessman, being an entrepreneur, you know, having an organization, having policies and principles and things of that nature, is still enforced to some degree. To some degree. Um game's a little different, depending on the different industry, but certain business principles and practices are applied in both legal and illegal um, business. Uh, I think that what nonetheless the marketplace in our reality values legal products and illegal products. Um, legal and illegal products, but um, you know one product does have some health detriment, um, to some, in a lot of degrees. In terms of narcotic dealing, to me, I don't. I mean, it's kind of already understood and accepted in the minded times that cannabis isn't a drug; it's a plant. But to me, falls under like cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin, meth, these kind of things. These to me are narcotic. These are cooked up things. These aren't things that were grown organically from earth. These are cooked up things. This is narcotics. And so um yeah, they feel good temporary, but they do have physical detriment in the long term, long haul kind of situation. Um so that to me is the major difference between legal product and illegal product. Between what's being sold. Um but um when it comes to like you have people who are spoken on and allure in the Afro community, in the black community, like you know eh, um Freeway Ricky, uh Big Meech, Rayful Edmonds. Like to me, I've kind of you know again I'm an entrepreneur, so I it's how can I say, I'm inspired by the fact that they were able to have a organized business and uh earn the revenue that they earned and had the influence that they had doing what they're doing. To me, that takes a level of high intellect and genius to do that. To have that vision and bring people together and to work and stuff like that. Um, but again, it was a legal product, and to me, it's like for me, it's like, man, I sometimes think like, dang, if these brothers would have done that in like a legal industry, man, in a legal business, they apply that same intellect, that same business intellect principles and stuff that they were doing in a legal sphere, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Things you know, I know they would have had the same success, at least from financial aspect, because they had the business acumen and the principles. They were just applying it in an illegal business, and so that's why for me it's just I preach so much just into um what I'm saying, applying those business principles and acumen into legal business. And you got God, like a Freeway Ricky, and he said like he's out of jail, and he's and he I've watched interviews, and he's spoken about that, like, man, and that's what he's doing. He's gonna make his killing, and he's doing his thing in the legal industry. And kudos to him. Most you know blessings to him. Wish him the best in his further endeavors. But you know he's gonna get into, and I believe he did some stuff with musically when he was uh before he got to jail. And but I know, I think I've seen some interviews with him saying he was gonna get into music, possibly, but in different industries. And uh even Meech, like even with before he got locked up, he was on with his BMF brand, which he was building, which was outside of, obviously the narcotic dealing, but the brand that he was building, what I'm saying? The vision, it takes like I said, a intellect, a genius, a visionary to do what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Just the unfortunate part was that he was dealing with, some with illegal product. You know what I'm saying? If he had a legal, he was in his transitioning into having, you know, going full blown just with his BMF product brand, but unfortunately things got caught up with feds and police. But just seeing what he was doing with the BMF, like you see that he has that vision. You know what I'm saying? And again, he's another one that, by the grace of God, he gets, freed soon and he can come out and continue his vision with the BMF and his brand and stuff like that, and keep what he's keep that stuff going. And you know, it just goes to show, man, like it's all about where you put your energy, your time. You know what I'm saying? These brothers have visions, and they're visionaries. And you know, I know that they, as brothers get another chance. Uh I just think it's it's just like I said, just putting your energy towards um legal product. Putting your energy towards legal product, man. And the difference is a lot of times when you're putting your energy towards legal product, or if you're starting something new per se, it's not known to sell. So you're not going to really be making the as much money in the beginning. But if you put your time and your energy, put more energy and time, it's gonna get it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get better. You're gonna get uh more financial opportunities. People gonna become more aware of your product, and it's gonna sell more. You know what I'm saying? Thing is, a lot of times with when you sell a legal product, it's known to sell. So the marketplace already sees the value in what you're selling. But unfortunately, it's illegal, so you can get locked up. You can be penalized, and you know for for selling the product. Yeah. So next topic, man. Enemies and slash ops. This is it's funny because it's just everybody. It's such a power. You listen to music. There's always people talking about having enemies and the ops and this, that, and the third, and you know, eh, it is what it is, right? But to me, it's like I'm big. I'm a person who's just like how you see the world is just how is how the world is. Uh, if you see that or you think that you have enemies or ops, then that's what you have because that's what you see. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Like myself, I don't just see the world in that way. I don't see the world in the sense that I have enemies and ops. Uh, I just I will defend myself if need be, but um, I just don't see the world that way. I think, but like I do at the same time understand the point of view. A lot of times people think that, well, really feel, but uh, people think that, people feel like they, in cases where they feel they were wronged, or they, for whatever reason, don't like this person, or whatever the case may be. It's like, well, this person's against me, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, again, like I said, people are entitled to see the world how they want to see it. Um, I think uh, it's it's something that, you know the way I see it, it just, again, another way to divide. You know what I'm saying? It's, one side versus the other side, and again, it's not progressive. You know, um, both sides could work together, but like I said, it's how you want to see it. If you don't want to see that, you want to work with the with somebody or the opposing side, then you're not gonna work with. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's all about how you choose to see it. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about how you choose to see it. And to me, it's just distractive because both sides, um, in a given situation, if you had to say between two people, it's like, both sides can have, point of views, but if they just choose not to regard the other point of view, and or disregard the other point of view, then and just say that the other point of view is, doesn't matter, then it's always going to be conflict. You're not going to understand that other view, not going to understand that person, not going to want to understand, even if you know what I'm saying, there's any sense to what they're saying, like, you're just not going to want to. And again, it's usually rooted in pride and ego. And you know um I'm just somebody who just don't move in that kind of energy. um I can, people can have their opinion, and I'm at a point where, like I said, I agree to disagree. But if, I do believe in self-defense. I do believe in defending yourself. If uh somebody wants to offensively come after you, basically, I do believe you can it's a human right to self-defend yourself. So, you know uh it's just not worth it. And I just would want to ask people who do claim to have enemies and ops, how much money have these people ever made you? They don't make you any money. Doesn't have it is not It's not profitable. Doesn't help you, your life, your family. Having these enemies and ops doesn't help anything. So you better off just focusing on what's bringing you value, what you deem to be of good importance in your life, than spending time worrying or trying to attack the enemies or the ops. Like, it's just really not worth it at all. It's just not. Um so uh I think in terms of uh just having an opposing view, I feel like people, a lot of times, depending on the person, they just want to say, well, this person's my enemy just because they just have a different point of view. So it's like, this person's the opposite. And we just to me just got to get out this narrative again where you know people just can't have a again opposing point of view and that be the case. Like we all see the world, we all see the same world but in a different lens. So naturally everybody's gonna have their own viewpoint of how they see things, and there's gonna be similarities in viewpoints, there's gonna be differences in viewpoints. uh I just think that people get caught up in the differences in the viewpoints and saying, well, this is the enemy, this is the op, instead of potentially seeing maybe there being some similarities and views and certain things like that. Um, Nobody just sees everything differently unless you just want to make it that way. If you want to choose, and which people do choose to make certain people just everything is just opposing or different from them. You know what I mean? And that's just not the truth. That's not how it really is. If you were to dive deeper, that's not really the case. You know what I'm saying? You'll find out you actually do have some similarities to the person that you're just saying is just different or just opposing of you. You do have some similarities. It's just you're choosing not to see it. You're choosing not to even dive deep into seeing it or anything like that. Um, but that's just the reality of the world. You know, I've really learned to accept that. I have my own point of view. There's gonna be people who are gonna agree with me and see things similarly, and there's gonna be people who are gonna see things a bit differently and see things opposing. And that doesn't make them wrong. It just means that they have a difference in opinion. But if you're saying things that are just false, then I can't. You know what I'm saying? I just that's just not even an opinion. It's just false if you're just saying false things. But if you're saying things from your own point of view, your opinion, um, that's not false, but just your opinion. I mean, the person is 100% entitled and has right to that viewpoint, even if it's not in alignment with my viewpoint. So yeah, so that's all. Just you know, glad to finish this third episode, man. Really hope you guys take this information, take the conversation, learn from it, grow from it. You know, give me any feedback. Want to speak more on certain topics? I'm definitely open to speaking more about it, hearing what people have to say. And so, yeah, thank you. Wish y'all the best. Have a good one.